The Huddled Masses, a cycle of 4 one-act plays by Bradford Slavik.
The new Colossus, not like the brazen giant of Greek fame, with conquering limbs astride from land to land. Here at our sea-washed sunset gate shall stand a mighty woman with a torch, whose flame is the imprisoned lightning, and her name, Mother of Exiles. From her beacon hand glows worldwide welcome. Her mild eyes command the air-bridged harbor that twin cities frame. Keep, ancient lands, your storied pomp, cries she with silent lips. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. Emma Lazarus, 1883.
Part 1, The Mick. Cast of characters. Seamus McFeeney, male, 23, Irish immigrant, newly arrived to Boston, speaks with a pronounced Irish brogue, is very outgoing with the gift of the gab, but a natural leader, played by
Jason Myers.
Voice of census taker, male, any age, offstage voice of a census taker, played by
Lavelle Thompson Jr.
Male voice 1, male, any age, any ethnicity, offstage voice of immigrant who shares rooms with Seamus, played by
Robert Ashton.
Male voice 2, male, any age, any ethnicity, offstage voice of immigrant who shares rooms with Seamus, played by
Donald McClendon.
Female voice 1, female, any age, Protestant Irish, offstage voice of an immigrant who shares rooms with Seamus, played by
Shinaz Ahmed.
Female voice 2, female, any age, any ethnicity, offstage voice of immigrant who shares rooms with Seamus, played by
Jen Perez.
Jebediah Nelson, male, 32, African-American freeman, stevedore on Boston docks. He is hardworking and solid, but will take no guff if he feels wronged, played by
Donald McClendon.
Harry Richards, male, 24, wounded Confederate infantryman from South Carolina, later railroad laborer. He is prejudiced but holds back most of his opinions, played by
Brad Kinzel.
Red Fox, male, early 60s, old Lakota warrior, now doing the best that he can. He has seen and done everything a warrior must in life and knows he has outlived his time. His one eye, a partially functioning hand, and walks with a limp. Played by
Robert Ashton.
Jasmine, female, 20s, Asian, could be any of a number of ethnicities, Protestant at the Prairie Fire Saloon. Prostitute at the Prairie Fire Saloon. She knows how to act and to get her pay and does it well, but sincerely likes Seamus. Played by
Shinaz Ahmed.
Isabella, female, 25, Mexican supervisor of the girls at the Prairie Fire Saloon, a working woman who knows how to survive and is good at it. Like Seamus, she's a natural leader. Played by
Jen Perez.
Scene 1, setting. The stage is empty except for a large scrim in the back that will be used to project titles and images. Set pieces will be brought on as needed and then only suggestions of what they are, but enough to be practical. As the audience enters on the scrim, will be projected the Emma Lazarus poem, The New Colossus, at Rise. The scrim changes to The Huddled Masses, Part 1, The Mick, Boston, 1860. At down center is a lone standing door. There are background sounds of a 19th century street with sounds of people passing, children playing, horses pulling wagons, dog barking, and an occasional baby crying. The stage is dimly lit except for a single spot on the door. After a couple of beats, the scrim changes to a black and white photo of a 19th century street. We hear the sound of someone knocking twice on the wooden door.
Good morning, census taker. Good morning, census taker.
The door opens a crack and the head of Seamus McFeeney cautiously looks out at what we imagine is the census taker. Seamus is dressed in an old linen shirt and a pair of dungarees with suspenders.
Who is it?
Hi, I'm the census taker.
The what?
Who is it?
What does he want?
I'm not here.
The census taker. I've come to enumerate the household.
To do what with the house?
To enumerate, to count the members of the household.
Seamus opens the door more and he steps into the frame looking suspiciously at the imagined census taker.
And why would you want to be doing such a thing?
Because it's required by the law.
Oh, are you a copper, a police officer?
No, sir. I'm an official census taker from the United States Census Office.
Seamus, is it the police?
Tell him I'm not here.
Will you shut your gob back there? Can't you see a man is trying to conduct business with an official of the United States government?
Seamus extends his hand.
The name's Seamus McFeeny, late of Galway, and now nearly arrived these past 3 days on the far shores of the New World.
That shakes vigorously.
Seamus McFeeny. Okay, great. Are you the head of the household?
Oh, God forbid, no. I'm just the one brave enough to answer the door when a stranger comes a-calling. There are 5 of us here in this here 3-room flat, and I suspect the landlord will try to cram more in here if he could. I do have to warn you that you might be wasting your time, because all of us here are practically fresh off the boat.
It doesn't matter, sir. The U.S. Census counts all persons living in the United States, citizens, immigrants, slaves, and Indians.
Does it now? Well, that is mighty democratic of you.
What is your age, Mr. McFeeny?
I'll be 24 years of age this coming October 13th. According to the parish records of Kilkegan, they have me down as October 30th, but that was because the parish priest was almost deaf and he heard the wrong day.
Okay, so 23 years, 6 months, and 20 days.
Well, if you want to get that exact about it.
I presume you are Mr. McFeeny?
Well, and what would you be meaning by that? Do I look like a woman?
No, I meant you don't have a further title like Dr. McFeeny.
Oh, not hardly. And that's a laugh. You hear that? He thinks that I'm a high and mighty doctor.
It's one of the questions for the census. So, Mr., I presume.
Back in Ireland, that is still a mighty nice title, usually reserved for a landowner. People usually just call me Seamus or McFeeny. But if you say I'm a Mr., I'll take it.
And what is your color?
Green.
I beg your pardon?
Green. I'm Roman Catholic, as are most of us in Galway.
No, not your religion, your color.
You have some mighty strange questions for this census.
It is part of the form, Mr. McFeeny.
What colors are you looking for?
Generally, the answer would be white, black, red, or yellow.
Why?
Because it's used to establish your race.
What, that's important here?
Yes.
Back in Ireland, the big concern is which church you go to. I told you, I'm Catholic, so you can put me down to answer that question.
The United States doesn't ask anyone to identify his or her religion in the census.
Doesn't it now? But color is important.
You know, I'll put you down as white. Okay. What is your profession?
Anything I can get paid for. Back in Galway, I laid bricks, dug ditches, groomed horses. I even cleaned a chimney or two.
I'll put down day laborer. Do you own any real estate, and what value?
Oh, real estate, as in land? No, if I had owned land back in Ireland, what would I be doing? Sailing to America, crammed for 6 weeks in steerage, and now living with 4 other people in a 3-room flat?
I will put you down for no real estate. What is the value of your personal estate?
As in, how much money have I got? Well, God, you're a nosy one, aren't you? Well, I arrived here with the clothes in my back and in my bag, my mother's picture and a couple of bob in my pocket.
Bob?
Yeah, okay. I had £2.06 to my name, a tidy little sum, and I exchanged it for $8 and 78 cents.
Okay, thank you. What was your place of birth?
I was born on a farm a little outside the village of Kilkegan in County Galway, Ireland.
Are you married or have you been married in the last year?
Oh, now that is rich. I have the enormous fortune of $8 and live in a crowded flat after having uprooted myself from Galway and arriving here 3 days ago. Oh my, how could I have forgotten my wife? As if any woman's father would allow her to marry a man like me.
Mine sure wouldn't, you ugly Mick.
Just shut your gob, Cassie. You don't even have a father.
Kiss my ass, you green bog trotter.
Seamus raises his hand as if to strike someone, but thinks better of it and stops in mid-swing.
My ma would never forgive me for striking a woman, even an ugly orange bitch like you.
Well, sir?
No, I'm not married.
Thank you. Have you attended school in the last year?
I was in the village school for a couple of years before the priest kicked me out. He was a mean, skinny runt, not as nice as the old deaf one when I was a sprout. When I got big enough, I told him if he hit me with that ruler more time, I'd shove it up his bum sideways.
Okay, so no. Can you read and write?
Believe it or not, I did come away from that school able to read a little and scroll some writing. My number ciphering was not too good, though.
You can read and write. Are you deaf, dumb, blind, idiotic, a pauper, or a convict?
He's all of the above, Sonny.
Catty, damn you.
Blackout. End of scene. Scene 2 at Rise. On the scrim is projected Boston, 1861. With the background sounds of a harbor with a channel buoy, we hear occasionally, sometimes a steam whistle of a boat, and occasionally seagull. Lights rise. After a couple of beats, the scrim changes to a black and white photo of a mid-19th century harbor with sailing ships. Seamus enters from the wings pushing a stevedore freight dolly with a large crate on it. He is dressed in the same shirt and dungarees as the last scene and also wears a flat hat. He pushes the dolly to about mid-stage and then sets it down. He crosses to the downstage side of the cart, leans against it, and pulls out a bandana to wipe his forehead.
Jesus, Mary and Joseph, it is warm for me.
From the opposite side of the stage, another stevedore enters, pushing a dolly with several smaller crates. This is Jeb Nelson, an African-American. He is dressed similar to Seamus, but his clothes are more worn with several patches. He moves forward until he is just about to bump into Seamus's dolly. He stops.
Hey, you with the crate. You're blocking the way.
Jeb is too tired to move around his dolly, and he can't see Seamus, and Seamus can't see Jeb.
Sorry, mate. I was just wiping the sweat out of my eyes.
Mate? Who is that?
Jeb straightens up and comes around the dolly. Jeb and Seamus finally see each other.
Oh, sorry, sir. I didn't see you.
Sir? Oh, I'm not a sir. I'm an Irishman. You're a nigger, ain't you?
I would prefer Negro, and you're a Mick.
I would prefer Irishman. The name's Seamus McFeeny.
Seamus holds his hand out to shake. Jeb is surprised and at first doesn't know what to do with it, but takes it anyway and shakes.
Jebediah Nelson, but everyone calls me Jeb. You're new here, aren't you? Just off the boat?
No, I've been in America almost a year. I just started this job yesterday. I was mostly knocking about the Irish neighbourhood in Dorchester, taking odd jobs and eventually paving streets and digging ditches until I got this job with better pay.
Do all you Irishmen talk this much to total strangers?
Well, my ma always said I had a gift of the gab and could spin a yarn out of thin air. Sorry, no, we don't normally. But then again, we've shook hands and introduced ourselves, so we ain't total strangers now, are we? How did you know I was fresh off the boat?
Any white man who calls a Negro mate, shakes his hand, and converses in a respectful manner has to be fresh off the boat.
Is that odd here?
Another thing someone fresh off the boat would say, you never met many Negroes, have you?
I can't say I have. There's obviously none in Galway, and I've only seen a few outside of Dorchester. I've never spoke to any of them.
Jeb turns to get back to work.
At least you're not staring at me.
Well, hold on now. We're due for a break about now, and there's no bosses about, and we're having a pleasant chat just between us working men.
Jeb pauses and considers it, and then decides what the hell. He turns back and leans against the dolly.
All right. Why not? So, what do you want to talk about?
Your name, it's Irish, but you're...
Obviously not.
Yes, how is that possible?
Lordy, you are fresh off the boat. When my people were brought here as slaves from Africa, we were not just stripped of our freedom and dignity, but also our names as well. We were given Christian names that were easy for white people to say, and eventually we took the surnames of the families that owned us.
Oh, so your last master, he was named Nelson?
No, I was never a slave. Do I look or sound like some beaten down, no account Southern field nigga?
I don't know. I've never met one.
I was born free. Nelson was the name of the man that owned my father. He was a good man. He let my father hire out and keep the money. My father eventually bought his freedom. He kept the name in honor of his former slave owner.
Oh. So why didn't you go back to, why didn't he go back to his African name?
Negroes have been on this continent as long as the white man, nearly 300 years ago. Only the Indians have been here longer. My family goes back at least that far. None of us remembers anything of Africa. This place is home.
Oh, well, I see. Sure is a hot day.
Yes, it is.
You know, it might be a good day to stop in the pub and not going back after work. Would you join me?
Jeb turns his head and stares at Seamus.
What was it? Was it something I said?
You've been here a year. Have you not noticed the signs in front of some of the restaurants, hotels, and saloons saying no niggas allowed?
Oh, yeah, I have, except they say no niggers or Irish allowed. There are a few establishments that don't have that sign in my neighbourhood. Being as we are both excluded from the former, I figured we could at least talk treason in the latter.
And how many Negroes drink in these establishments?
None.
And there would be as many white men in the saloons I go to. Do you realize that we could have trouble from both our peoples just talking to each other here?
But what business is it of theirs? I can't two work in when, just talk during break.
They will make it their business. And the bosses would rub their hands in glee. Before you Irish showed up, we Negroes were on the bottom of the labor pile. We made the smallest wages, but some of us were doing better very gradually. Then your people started arriving 10 years ago in large numbers, and we were willing to work for lower wages. There's a lot of resentment about that from poor whites and my people.
I've heard the same talk from my neighbourhood, only they feel the Negroes are competing for our wages.
There you go. I wouldn't mind to have a drink with you, but at this time, it is neither practical nor safe.
What about this big ruckus I hear from the South?
You talking about Sumter and Mr. Lincoln's call for 75,000 volunteers?
Yes, this thing with the South is all about their slaves, isn't it? With that many troops, this dust-up, it shouldn't last long, and maybe things will settle back down and change so we can have that drink.
This isn't going to be a dust-up. It's going to be hard and bloody. My family knows a thing or two about them crackers down south. Wars usually don't make things better, but maybe changes will come from this one. I'd sign up if I could.
So why don't you?
Lincoln wants 75,000 white volunteers. I know a bunch from my neighborhood that have already tried to sign up and were turned away. How about you?
Oh, I don't know yet. I came here to get away from bullying and killing. Also, I don't see too many in Boston want to put guns in the hands of the Irish.
Or the Negro.
I guess we're in a similar boat.
I guess.
You know, there is nothing to stop two working men from, with Irish names, from taking a break on unused dock and just talking.
No, I suppose not.
They both lean against their dollies for a moment, staring out into the audience as if contemplating the water. Jeb straightens up.
Well, break is about over. Time to get back to work.
Yeah, it's about time.
Seamus straightens up and then turns to Jeb and holds out his hand.
Oh, I'll see you tomorrow, Mr. Nelson.
Jeb half smiles, shakes his head, and takes his hand.
We'll see, Mr. McFeeny.
Maybe one day we'll have that drink.
Maybe.
They shake. Both go back to their respective dollies. They move them past one another. After both have cleared, Seamus stops and turns to Jeb.
Mr. Nelson.
Jeb stops and turns to Seamus.
Aaron Gobra.
What?
Ireland forever. It's what one Irishman would say to another.
Jeb smiles and shakes his head.
All right. Same to you.
They both go back to their dollies and push them off in their respective wings and exit as the lights fade. End of scene. Scene 3, at Rise. On the scrim is projected near Appomattox Courthouse, 1865, with the background sounds at first of cannon and rifle fire in the distance, which dies down and then stops. Lights rise. After a couple of beats, the scrim changes to a black and white photo of a mid-19th century, partially wooded field. On stage stumbles Harry Richards, a Confederate private dressed in butternut shirt, ragged pants, a field cap, and no shoes. He has a rifle, but is using it more as a crutch. He barely makes it down center before he collapses. Enter from the opposite side, Seamus in the uniform of a Union sergeant with his gun raised, pointing at Harry.
Hold it right there, Red.
Harry very cautiously raises his hands, but still sits.
Easy there, Yank. It ain't going anywhere.
Toss that rifle aside.
Harry does so.
You're welcome to it. Ain't had any bullets or powder for a day.
Now up with you, very slowly.
May not be possible, Yank. You made me toss away my crutch.
Seamus now, for the first time, has a good look at his feet.
Where are your boots?
Boots? Who do you think we are? Some rich Yankee unit? I ain't had a pair of boots or shoes, for that matter, in almost a year.
What's wrong with your leg?
Harry rolls up his right leg, showing a bloody bandage around the calf.
Yankee bullet went through it this morning. Appears to have missed the bone, thank goodness, but it's powerful difficult to walk. Been trying to get back to my regiment ever since.
Seamus is now satisfied that Harry is no threat and lowers his rifle.
As soon as my unit comes up, I'll see you get to a surgeon. I should be able to save the leg. I've seen worse.
So have I. Much obliged, Yank. Say, you still got some water in that canteen? I ain't had nothing to drink all morning. My old canteen rotted out a while back.
Sure.
Seamus unslings his canteen, approaches Harry, and hands it to him.
Thanks, Yank.
Harry starts drinking greedily and then finishes.
Got anything to eat, Yank? We hadn't had rations for a couple days since we pulled out of Farmville.
I don't have much. We've been on marching rations since Petersburg. All I have is some hardtack, but you're welcome to that.
Seamus pulls out some square biscuits out of a side pouch and hands them over to Harry.
Anything's got to be better than the parched corn they've been feeding us.
Harry starts eating the hardtack.
Sounds like it's quietening down a mite.
Well, your boys are pulling back. We have orders to just advance to the hill there and then stay put and wait for orders. Rumor has it that General Lee has sent a flag of truce. Looks like it might be over soon. You may be a prisoner just long enough to get your leg fixed up.
That would be mighty agreeable, but I don't see Morris Robert giving up so easily.
I don't think he has much choice. After the ruckus this morning, he is pretty much surrounded.
Damn. Then I guess it's over.
Seamus relaxes a little, leans on his rifle, but still keeps his distance.
You're a Mick, ain't you?
Yeah, I'm an Irishman.
When did the Yanks hire you on?
Hire me on. If you're referring to when did I join the regiment, the 28th Massachusetts Volunteer Infantry, then it was December of 61. Hired on? As if they pay enough in this man's army to hire on.
Didn't mean no offense, Yank. Common talk is that most of you Micks were hired straight from the old country to fight for the Yankees.
Well, you got that wrong. I was living in Boston for over a year till Tom Mager himself talked to a bunch of us at a parish meeting to sign up. So I did. Eventually earned these here stripes.
You seen much action?
A bet. Antietam, what you Rebs call Sharpsburg, Fredericksburg, Chancellorsville, Gettysburg. The wilderness.
Damn, Yank. You have seen the elephant a few times.
Yeah, a few. Oh, what about you, Reb? Were you in any of those?
I spent most of my time in garrison duty around Charleston and Fort Wagner. Wasn't transferred up until 64 when we fought at the Wilderness. I think I heard tell of the 28th. Tough outfit. That was a hell of a battle.
That was no battle. It was a blind Brannigan. It was a brawl. No one could see what you were shooting at, and most of the time you were trying to keep from getting burned alive in the brush fires.
Like I said, Yank, it was hell.
When you said you're at Fort Wagner, it was at South Carolina. Were you there during the battle?
You mean when you Yanks tried to take the fort in 63? Yeah. I was there when those nigger bluebellies tried storming the fort. Stupid move.
Seamus now stiffens up and looks hard at Harry.
You're referring to the brave assault the 54th Massachusetts made? You know, a good friend of mine was in that outfit, and he fell on that day.
He was? Sorry to hear about that, Yank. No disrespect, but they should not have made that attack. They were a bunch of brave niggers, though, for trying it. I don't cotton to the idea of arming niggers. This was supposed to be a white man's fight, but I have to admit it was a brave charge. I saw, but it was still a fool's errand.
So it was as brave and foolhardy a charge as you Rebs trying to take Cemetery Ridge.
Pickett's charge? From what I heard tell, between you and me, yeah, that was stupid too.
Seamus is satisfied and relaxes.
Come on, Reb, let's get you to the Sawbones before they make you walk back to the Carolinas.
Seamus reaches out his hand and Harry grasps it, and Seamus pulls him to his feet.
You can lean on me till we get there.
Much obliged again, Yank.
They start to exit.
By the way, the name's Harry.
Mine's Seamus.
They exit. Lights fade. End of scene. Scene 4. At Rise, on the scrim is projected near Broken Wheel, Dakota Territory, 1868, with the background sounds of picks and shovels and men working. Lights rise after a couple of beats. The scrim changes to a black and white photo of desert terrain and a portion of a 19th century steam locomotive. On stage, kneeling is Red Fox, a middle-aged Lakota man who has seen much wear and tear in his life. He is dressed in a poor quality shirt and trousers. On his head is a headband holding a strip of cloth covering one eye. He also has some trouble with one hand and he can't walk very quickly. Next to him is a bucket with water and a large ladle. We hear Seamus's voice off stage.
All right, you mugs, it's almost break time. Finish up with that rail, then get some water and take a break. I'll be back in a minute.
Seamus enters. He's dressed in dungarees and a work shirt with rolled up sleeves and a hat, which are in much better shape than the clothes he was wearing in the first scene. Takes off the hat, wipes his brow. He doesn't see Red Fox at first.
Water boy, where the hell are you?
Red Fox gets up, makes his way to Seamus as best he can.
Hey, honey, Foreman. I have water right here.
And who are you? I haven't seen you around the camp before.
Red Fox dips the ladle and hands it to Seamus. Seamus takes it from him and drinks.
I start this morning.
Well, thanks for the water. I'll have some other thirsty men for you in a minute.
Seamus takes a good look at him.
So ain't you a wee bit old to be doing this?
Seen many winters. Maybe too many. Can't hunt no more. Can't ride well. I've only one eye left. Too much burden for my daughters. Big boss offer job. I do this or take a long walk in desert. I do this.
What was it you said before? The hey nee nee?
Hey ha nee. It is morning greeting.
What is it now? Well, top of the morning to you too. Hey ha nee, that's Indian for good morning, yes?
No, Lakota. Top of the morning. I've heard this before. You are Mick, white man.
Well, Irish white man and you're Lakota Indian. Hmm?
Just Lakota.
Well, there are a large number of Irishmen here. I guess you heard that from them.
Yes, many Irish white men, many Kraut white men, many Spick white men, many Chink white men, many nigger white men, many more than Lakota.
You know, I wouldn't repeat too many of those men names. Quite a few of these lads, I would take offence.
Why? They call each other these names.
Yes, but it would be the same to them as calling you just Injun.
Understand. They are all not of same tribe, yet still work together.
It's a job, and the pay is better than back east. So, yeah. So your name is Lakota. Well, I'm Seamus.
Seamus. My name is not Lakota. I am Lakota. My name is Luda Shwenjila. You would say Red Fox.
Seamus extends his hand in greeting.
I'm pleased to meet you, Red Fox.
Red Fox clasps hands with Seamus.
Pleased to meet you, Foreman Seamus.
So, Lakota, I thought all the Indian tribes hereabouts were all Sioux.
French white men call us Sioux. We do not. In this land are three peoples tied together by tradition and blood. Nakota, Dakota, Lakota. I am Lakota.
I will try to remember that.
Red Fox observes the activity off stage.
Many different men working on Trail of Iron Horse. Very impressive. So many new to this old land.
Well, I wouldn't call all of them new. Yes, I've got quite a few men in my gang that are fresh off the boat, but a few like myself that have been here a number of years. But there's many, especially the ex-rebels and Negroes whose families go back 3 or 4 generations.
4 generations. My people have been here since these hills were formed and the springs pour forth. To Lakota, you are all fresh off the boat.
That is quite true. You remind me of a friend I once had. He once told me that compared to Indians, we were all newcomers.
Your friend sounds wise. Why are you no longer friends?
He was killed in battle 5 years ago. He fought and died bravely.
He was a warrior. That's good. You two have the look of one who has seen battle. Old warriors like me can see this.
Yes, I've seen a few, but Jeb, he was a real hero. He fought hard just to be let into the army, and he did good. I was just lucky.
Do not feel shame for luck. If you acted as a true warrior, feel no shame for living. Honor your brothers. Even in death, he is still your friend. Once friend, always friend.
Yes, he'll always be in my memory. But he was a real hero, not me. I went through 4 years of war, and I don't know how many battles I came out without a scratch, while men around me, all of them died.
If you fought with honor, then you have nothing to be ashamed of. I have seen many battles. My hand, my foot, my eye, all in battle. But now I am old. Cannot help my family, except as water carrier for white man. So do not be ashamed that the spirits have smiled on you. You can still support your family.
At the moment, I have no family to support. I've been working here to save up enough, and I made a girl when I was stationed in New York. We write to each other.
That is good. Live a life, have family, and when you grow old, then you can die a warrior's death.
What, a warrior's death?
Yes, facing an enemy with honor. Even in death, you are not defeated. Ho-ka-hey! Le-ampe tu kin mate kin washte ketelo.
Red Fox is a little spent by the effort and chuckles and shakes his head.
What was that?
Ho-ka-hey is battle cry.
Seamus squares himself and faces the audience and bellows out,
"For below!" That's what we shouted when we charged the Rebs and Antietam. So what was that other thing you said?
It is Lakota saying when facing a powerful enemy, today is a good day to die. I'd hope to end my days this way, but one must accept what the spirits have given.
Hey, Yank, y'all got any hardtack?
Seamus turns to the voice and Harry enters. He's dressed similar, though with greatly worn clothing and hat.
Well, I'll be a son of a bitch. Is that you, Reb?
I'm afraid it is.
Harry and Seamus cross to each other and shake hands. Red Fox stands to the side observing. He doesn't like the look of Harry.
You're walking a whole lot better than when I saw you.
No thanks to your Yankee sawbones.
When did you get here, and what gang are you in?
Arrived a couple of days ago. I work in Miller's gang, unloading and stockpiling supplies.
It's good to see a face from the army days, even from the Reb army. Did you make it back home to, where was it?
South Carolina. Yeah, I made it. Didn't like the changes, though. Niggers getting uppity. Carpetbaggers all over the place. I decided to head out west and get a job handling the railroad, building it. Whew! Oh, look at you, a foreman.
Yeah, me stripes from the army did come in handy.
Don't that beat all? They make an immigrant Mick like you a foreman.
Hey, let's have some respect there. I took my citizenship exam almost 3 years ago when I mustered out. You're speaking to a fellow citizen of these United States.
Well, between you and me, being a citizen ain't what it used to be. It ain't a white man's country no more.
Yes, it's getting to be a hot day, so have some water.
Seamus turns to Red Fox.
Red Fox, my friend here has a powerful thirst. Kindly bring us water.
Red Fox makes his way towards Harry and Seamus. He appears to approach slower and more reluctant than earlier. Harry gets impatient with his progress and begins to taunt him.
Come on, Injun, hurry up. I ain't got all day, boy. What are you, some kind of gimp?
You know, there is no call to taunt him like that. Just have some respect for the man.
Red Fox has made it up to them. He dips the ladle for water and offers it to Harry.
What, for an Injun?
He ain't just an engine. He's an employee of the railroad, like you and me. He's also a veteran, like you and me.
Oh, yeah? Well, who did he fight?
White men soldiers.
Harry looks like he will throw a punch at Red Fox, and Seamus intercedes.
By God, Harry, you better cool down right now. I am talking to you as a friend and as a foreman.
Harry relaxes and lowers his hand.
Now take the man's water he's offering you. That'll cool you down.
With Seamus glaring at him all the time, Harry takes the ladle, sips some water, and hands the ladle back to Red Fox.
There now.
Seamus turns to Red Fox.
I think we're done here, Red Fox. The men in my gang, they'll be needing water now.
Yes, foreman.
Red Fox exits past Harry. Harry glares at him and then turns to Seamus and changes his expression.
Sorry if I spotted off like that, Yank. It's a hot day and I had a bad time back home. I didn't mean anything by it.
Well, a hot day it is. You know, this outfit has a lot of men from most over the world, and like when we was in the army, they all have a job to do where they have to work together. That means leaving behind any nonsense that makes working here harder. You don't have to drink with them, but you do have to work with them.
Yeah, I get it.
No, let me tell you something. Most of these boys here are either fresh off the boat or fresh off the farm. None of them have worked in a large group before with the proper organization that makes this here job possible. It's men like me and like your Foreman Miller, a few others, and you, all veterans that have served in the army, that understand the importance of teamwork. Now, Miller is going to depend on you. So will I.
Seamus holds his hand out to shake.
Now then, will you keep your head about you and help us out?
Harry smiles and shakes Seamus's hand.
Sure thing, Yank. I will.
That's me lad, and call me Seamus. Just let's leave the war behind us. Besides, I'm an Irishman, not a Yankee.
They begin to exit.
Now then, if you have a mind, sometime after our shifts, I'll take you to a little place I know in town for a drink and some female companionship.
They exit. Light fade to black. Scene 5. Setting. To one side on stage is a door with enough of a flap to hide anyone behind it. Nearby is a Western-style bar with no chairs. Behind the bar should be available bottles and glasses. At rise. On the scrim is projected Broken Wheel, Dakota Territory, 1868, the Prairie Fire Saloon. With the background sounds of a few people off stage and glasses clinking, lights rise. After a couple of beats, the scrim changes to a black and white photo of a 19th century saloon. Seamus and Harry enter from the sides opposite the door.
Will y'all look at this? Another bar room.
I told you this was a proper-sized saloon, dance hall, theatre, and 2 bars. Oh, there, the house.
I think they're all in the dance hall waiting for the show to start.
Well, this is the place that we make the arrangements.
Well, nobody's here now.
You know, if you hadn't been so late, there would have been people here.
Sorry, I had an important matter to take care of.
All right, well, someone's bound to show up. Tell you what, Harry, why don't you go ahead and watch the show for a bit, and I'll make arrangements for us.
I'll be back and check up with you in a few minutes.
Harry exits from the same side he's entered, and Seamus leans against the bar, facing the audience for a few beats.
Hello, there's a customer who needs service.
No response. Seamus turns and leans over the bar and retrieves a bottle of whiskey and 2 shot glasses. He arranges the 2 shot glasses in line with the bottle between them. Enter 2 prostitutes, Jasmine and Isabel. Jasmine is Chinese and speaks broken English. She is dressed basically in a bustier with a short skirt and a silk robe. Isabella is Mexican, speaks a bit better English, and is in a low-cut dress with a long skirt.
Hey, you, Seamus. You come for more fun?
Well, good evening there, Jasmine. It's nice to see you again. I'm not so much here for fun as to provide for an old war comrade of mine who was a bit low on funds.
You good man. Treat me right. I take care of your friend.
You can make the arrangements with me, mister.
Well, I don't believe I have made your acquaintance.
Seamus makes a slight exaggerated bow.
You can call me Isabella.
Isabella, boss lady. She helped take care of girls.
Oh, your management? Or you're more like myself, a foreman?
More like a foreman.
Well then, as one foreman to another, I'd like to make arrangements for the services of lovely Jasmine here for a friend of mine he's currently watching the show.
The usual arrangements and price?
That would be most agreeable.
Seamus brings some greenbacks and coins out of his pocket, counts them, and hands them over to Isabel. Isabel tucks them in a pocket in her skirt. Jasmine cozies up to Seamus and starts rubbing his chest.
You want nothing this time? Or maybe later?
Ah, Jasmine, me darling, would that I could, but I have just enough cash to take care of my friend another time, maybe next payday.
What's wrong with you, Seamus? You don't gamble. You don't come have fun with me, but once in a while. You don't even drink much. You not like other Irishmen on railroad. What you do with all that foreman money?
I'm saving it, my dear. I'm saving it for when I go back out east.
You go back plenty rich man then.
Well, not rich, but enough to set me up decently.
Jasmine, why don't you go and prepare your room? We'll send his friend in when he arrives.
Okay, boss lady.
Jasmine starts to cross to the door.
If he no show, Seamus always welcome.
She exits through the door and closes it. Seamus looks at Isabel for a moment and considers something, and Isabel notices this.
Are you changing your mind, Foreman, or considering something else?
Oh, considering something else. Would you join me in a toast and a drink?
I don't normally drink with customers. Management, you understand?
Yes, I do. But a foreman needs to keep his toes and set an example for his crew.
Exactly. I am curious as to why a toast.
Seamus pours 2 drinks during the following dialogue.
It's not so much a toast as it is a ceremony. It's a memorial, if you will.
Go on, you have my interest.
When I came to this country 8 years ago, while working on the docks of Boston, I met a man named Jeb. We became good friends, and but because he was a Negro, I could not invite him to an establishment such as this in Boston to have a drink together. I promised him just before I went into the army that maybe things would change when the war was over and we would have that drink.
And did you?
No, a year later, he was allowed to join the army, died in battle. He was a hero. But I never fulfilled the promise. So I says to myself, Seamus, since you can't have a drink with your friend Jed, you can at least once a year toast to his memory with someone under similar circumstances. And so today is the 5th anniversary of Jeb falling on the ramparts, Fort Wagner, South Carolina, still holding old glory aloft, and I choose you to drink with me in remembrance of him.
Seamus picks up a shot glass in each hand. He hands one to Isabel. She thinks for a second and then takes it.
You said under similar circumstances. How am I similar to your Negro friend Jeb?
when I first proposed a drink, Jeb and I had only just met on the docks, and he was a total stranger to me. Also, to both our people, drinking together would seem inappropriate. So the rules I set for myself for this ceremony is the person should be either a stranger or someone I just met, and others would disapprove of us drinking together.
Disapprove of us drinking? You men from the railroad drink with Mexican and Chinese girls all the time. I don't think I will qualify.
Well, I never said it was a perfect choice, and to be honest, you were also my first choice for today.
Should I be insulted? Who was your first choice?
It was someone I met this morning. He was an old Indian who brings water for the crew. I got to talking with him, and he reminded me a lot of Jeb. I figured on sharing a drink with him for the ceremony about an hour ago, but I couldn't find him. And then you appeared.
And I would do.
Well, actually, I took it as more of a sign.
Well, in that case, I will drink with you.
They face each other.
Here's to Jebediah Nelson, a good man, a fallen comrade, and a hero. We never had that drink, I promise, but I'm sure you're looking on.
They clink glasses, drain the shot glasses. Seamus puts his glass down, upside down. Isabel notices and does the same. They stand by the bar a couple of beats.
Now what?
Oh, that's it. The ceremony is short and sweet.
And somehow appropriate. I agree with Jasmine. I like you. You remind me of the stories I heard of the San Patricios my mother told.
San Patricios?
Men like you, Irishmen and warriors. They were once part of your army during the war with Mexico. They were mistreated for being immigrants and Catholics. They also saw the injustice of the war. They deserted and fought for Mexico. They were national heroes. My mother knew some of them.
Oh, I see. It sounds like you have heard many interesting stories and adventures as a kid.
You have no idea. I was adventurous, but not always nice. Like the San Patricios, I learned the hard way to fight and take care of myself.
She pats her skirt by her calf.
Oh, is that a little derringer?
No, something better in close quarters. I've learned to be very skilled with it.
Seamus, I'm done with the show and ran out of money for drinks.
Harry enters. He is just drunk enough to be noticeable, but he's not a nice drunk.
Have y'all made any arrangements yet?
He stops when he sees Isabella and is not quite happy.
Is she it?
No, she's not. And the lady's name is Isabella.
A lady? Oh, and with such a fancy beaner name?
Seamus glares at Harry.
You be watching what you're saying to the lady here. She runs the girls, and what she says goes.
Harry makes a bow in false chivalry.
Oh, sorry. Didn't mean no disrespect, madam.
Is your friend sober enough to function?
A Southerner is always capable of doing his duty under all circumstances.
Seamus crosses to Harry, puts his arm around his shoulder, and gently leads him to the door.
No, Harry, we have someone nice for you. She has been a favorite of mine, and I know that she would take good care of you.
I don't care if she's nice. She just better perform.
Okay, she will. And the girls are professionals. Treat them like that, and you will have a good time.
Seamus knocks on the door.
Husband, my dear, I have someone who wants to meet you.
Seamus opens the door and lets Harry in, and then he closes the door.
Oh, there. You've helped out a comrade in the spirit of the ceremony.
He crosses back to the bar and Isabella.
So tell me, Miss Isabella, how is it a lovely Mexican girl like yourself ends up way up north here in the middle of Indian country?
First of all, Mr. Seamus, ever since your country annexed land from Spain and Mexico, many thousands of us came with the land. So don't just assume I came here. Secondly, yes, I did travel from Mexico to here, because with the railroad, there's money. I came here to provide a service to earn some of that money.
As did we all, my dear, as did we all. Another drink?
There's a short, muffled cry from the door.
Well, it sounds like they're starting to have a good time.
I don't know. Something sounds not quite right. It may be nothing, but I'll check.
She starts to cross to the door.
And they'll pour us that drink.
Isabel opens the door and peers in.
Is everyone all right?
She enters the door, and Seamus pours a drink in one of the shot glasses. A muffled thump is heard. Seamus stops pouring and looks at the door. He sets down the bottle and is about to cross when Harry enters through the door.
Harry, what happened? Where's Isabella?
Harry looks a little confused by the question and then heads towards the bar.
She's with the chink. Might have been a little rough.
He reaches the bar and reaches for the bottle.
Have a drink with me.
No, I think I better check on the girls.
Seamus turns to go when Harry hits Seamus in the head, across the head with the bottle. Seamus goes down.
Let the bitches be. I took good care of them.
Seamus is injured and can barely sit up.
Oh, what have you done?
What have I done? What have I done? What have you done, you sorry bog-trotting Yank?
Harry crosses to Seamus.
You dare try to have me soil myself with that slant-eyed whore? Could at least find a white woman for me. Look at you. You're just another greasy immigrant bringing your fucking pope to this country.
Harry crosses around Seamus, taunting him. Seamus does his best to turn and face him.
You're almost as pitiful as those niggers after we finished them off.
Harry pulls a knife from the back of his pants.
You know, the ones in charge with your hero friend.
Jeb.
Yeah, that was him. You know what we did, Yank? We stripped them. Their boots came in mighty handy after we washed them out and made them fit for a white man. Then we dumped the niggers in a common grave and we pissed on them.
Seamus winces with pain at each description. He tries to get up, but he can only make it to his knees.
What did you do to the girls?
You really want to know, Yank? The chink, I choked using a pillow. The greaser came in before I could get my knife, so I hit her hard. She went down like a sack of potatoes. Wanted to use my knife on her, but I did the water engine earlier.
He looks
Still
at
has
the
a little
blade.
blood on it.
It's the engine? What? Red Fox? Why?
You can't let those savages get too uppity with you. Didn't like the way he looked at me. What do you care? He was just an engine.
So that's what kept you from meeting me on time?
Yeah, the fucker lived about a mile out of town. We'll give him this. He saw I was coming and didn't even try to run. He stood up and faced me with that damned water ladle.
Facing an enemy with honor, even in death, you're not defeated.
Yeah, something like that.
Harry bends down, pointing the knife in Seamus's face.
I really hate to do this to you, Yank. You always did good by me, even if you are a popish Mick, but you know I killed the whores, and now you know about the engine. Not that anyone would care.
He said something before you killed him?
Harry's taken aback by the statement and straightens up.
How did you know that?
That's a good day to die.
That it is, Yank.
Suddenly, Isabel bursts from the door and run. Before Harry can react, she expertly upward slashes his right hand with a knife, and Harry drops his knife. On the downstroke, she slices down his back from neck to hip. Harry screams and scrambles away from Isabel and Seamus. Isabel, in fighting stance with the knife, places herself between Harry and the still groggy Seamus. Harry holds his injured hand and stares at Isabella. By her demeanor, Harry can tell she is not one to screw with. Then she says very calmly, but with extreme malice,
Run, bandejo. Run, or I will gut you.
Harry, still cradling his arm, runs as best he can off stage. Isabella slowly follows to make sure Harry is left. Once she is satisfied, she calmly crosses to the bar, wipes the knife on a towel, and replaces the knife in the sheath on her thigh under her skirt. She crosses to Seamus and helps him up.
Are you all right?
Seamus looks at her.
Well, that depends on whether there are two of you there.
Let me help you. I need to get you to a doctor.
Is Jasmine dead?
Yes.
God, that bastard! Get me to the sheriff. You know, he also killed someone else tonight.
Isabella puts Seamus's arm across her shoulder and does her best to lift him up.
I heard him. He killed Red Fox. You kept him talking so I had enough time to recover. How'd you know I was still alive?
Isabel starts crossing with Seamus.
I didn't. I just thought it was about time I actually faced the enemy and died as a hero like Jeb.
Not tonight. Not if I have anything to do about it. You will live. You're a good man, Seamus, and I will see that you do.
I'm much obliged.
Isabel and Seamus exit as the lights slowly fade to black. End of scene. End of part 1.